Hey guys, and welcome to episode 116 of Meeple to Meeple. It is Signals and Strategy. We're going to talk about the game SETI by CGE. Really excited. As always, I remain PJ. And today I have been trying so hard to get this guest co-host on the show. We finally made it happen. We settled on SETI. It's the hot topic game of 2024, and I've got Tara from Tara's Bad Luck Club. Tara, how are you?
Let's go. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Well, I think I have a bit of good luck because you've made it on the show finally.
And the good luck is that my tech is working so far.
Yes. So tell me really quickly. We were talking about doing this collaboration for some time. I think we talked about kind of general ideas. We'd settled on one game, and then that kind of fell through. And we've landed on SETI. What is it about SETI, generally speaking, that you were like, we should talk about this?
Yeah, so I've been playing SETI kind of a lot recently, and funny enough, I haven't even been playing it with like the same people. I just keep like introducing it to new people and playing it with different groups. I think what keeps bringing me back is there is a lot of different paths to victory, I think, in the game, and I'm still trying to decide which one is the best one or which one I like the most.
Mm.
So it's a combination of like, just a little point salad thing and going through and trying to find what I like the best and just trying to explore the different aliens and see all they have to offer. I don't know that I've been like fully leaning into the aliens as much as I should be, since I'm still trying to figure out like which core mechanics of the game I'm most interested in. Uh,
Sure.
so yeah, I think I just keep going back to it to try and just figure out more about the game and myself and my relation to the game.
Right. I definitely think that is probably the strength of this game. I find myself thinking about it when I'm not playing it, and I'm like, I'm going to try and do this next time, right?
Yeah.
Um, so in preparation, I was thinking about the actual SETI, located in Silicon Valley in California. So it was established on November 20th, 1984. That actually surprised me.
Yeah.
That's fairly recent. The two founders, it had a staff of two. It was Tom Pearson and Jill Tarter. And then today, SETI employs over 100 scientists across the NASA, which might be SpaceX. I don't know. Not really sure how things are working out
I actually have a friend who
administratively.
works at NASA, and I don't think it's fully SpaceX yet.
Yeah. So we'll keep calling it NASA until we're told otherwise. So that's really interesting. And I've got a quote from Jill Tarter, one of the founding members that I wanted to share with everyone. SETI, she said, SETI is a mirror that shows ourselves from an extraordinary perspective and can help to trivialize the differences among us. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's really nice.
And right, and it's like that's exactly what the board game I think they really captured is the sending of the signals, of course, which is like a key component of the game,
Hmm.
and just it's kind of you realize how small Earth is in the grand scheme, just not just in our real life, but like on the board.
Oh,
Earth's
for
just
sure.
this,
Yeah.
right. So where do you want to begin?
I guess just talking about like the general theme of the game and
Yeah.
what the purpose of the game serves.
So it's the game was designed by Tomas Holek, published by CGE Games, and I just thought that this is just I don't know, this game floored me, right? It's so beautiful in its construction. Adam from Tabletop Vibes, he and I talked on episode 113, I believe it was, or 112, in our look back episode. Said he was our number one game from 24. And there was this underlying theme that came up about board games that had round boards. And while SETI's round, but it's not fully round, right? Do you want to talk about the mechanic? So whenever you take a tech tile and place it on your player board, you want to talk about the solar system in the center for a few minutes?
Sure. Yeah, I guess there's a couple different ways to move the solar system in the game. The biggest one is when you upgrade a tech. you are rotating the location. Yeah, basically that's like the main way to move the planets around, which is revealing different like asteroid belts, creating different challenges, and can end up moving your probe in unexpected ways that you
Hmm.
have out exploring the system.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's kind of like an interesting take where it's not quite like a rondelle, but it is. Yeah.
It's like it's the 3-layered rondelle.
Yeah, it kind of, I can't remember what other game I've played that had like a similar spinning wheel like that. I'm like, was it Sabika? I can't remember. But yeah, I think it's interesting how they made that work and how they made movement throughout it work, and
Right.
how while visiting different like comets and planets, you're gaining publicity. Like everything kind of works together and it all makes sense thematically. It just, there's so much like thoughtfulness that goes into that
Yeah.
just makes it all work together, where up front it seems like so much and so heavy of a game, but as you start to piece together the theme with what's actually happening in the game, it just comes together like so quickly and so nicely, I think.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. It's interesting how they broke up the solar system into thirds because there's 3 layers. So if I recall, you build a tech and you spin the inner layer, which is what, Mercury, Venus, and Earth. And then
Yeah.
there's another layer which is like Mars and Jupiter, and then right. I think Uranus and Pluto, not Pluto,
No,
Uranus
it's
and
Uranus and
Neptune.
Neptune. They're on
Yep.
the outer ring, which is actually the
Right.
fourth ring, and that's the
Right.
only one that's stationary.
Right. Yes, it's really cool, especially like you said, when you're trying to move your probes from one place to another, which is something you have to think about when you launch any projectile
Absolutely.
into outer space. It's not a straight line. I think sometimes we forget. Right? It's like you've got gravity, so you've got a slingshot. There's kind of a, the elliptical orbits and whatnot. It's not just go straight to Mars or whatever. And then the planets rotate, and you're like, oops, Mars just got farther away. You mentioned publicity. It's the only component I want to show. It's one of my favorites because, and I mentioned this before, but I actually have the component here in front of me. So I'm just going to hold that up really quickly, and you can see it's a condenser mic that one would use for a podcast. Very much like I use every single week. I just think that's great. It's like it's hit home. It's like use that at home, and now it's in a board game. And speaking of the components, we talked about it before, but they do use the rewood,
hmm
compressed wood for the components for the player pieces, which I love. CGE seems to be the only game publisher doing this. Now, if you listen to last week's podcast, you heard Josh from Modern Meeple talk about it's not rewood, but it is compressed wood, a sustainable recycled wood that he uses to make his trays, which is similar to rewood, but it is not rewood. But I do love that CGE has a mind towards sustainability in the building of their products. So yeah. So thanks for that, guys.
That's
What
cool.
what is your
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say it's funny that you mentioned that, because in one of the recent games of SETI I played, we, instead of calling it publicity, we did call it podcast points the whole time, because
That's it.
yeah,
Yes.
we're like,
Yes.
yeah, we're starting a podcast about discovering aliens and putting it out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite mechanic? What is your favorite feature? What is your favorite aspect of SETI? Like, is there a specific action that you're like, every time you play, I love doing this? Or
Yeah. Um, so I actually kind of talked about it. I just made like an Instagram post on SETI recently, and the one thing that I addressed in it was the multi-use cards, which I really enjoy. That was like one of the first things that stuck out to me. But yeah, basically one of the main actions that you can do is playing a card, which you're playing a credit cost to play that card in front of you, and then it has a one-time. Most cards have a one-time immediate effect on them, and once you play it, it's discarded, and then that card is out of the game. So that's like the main use of a card.
right,
And then some of them have in-game goals and in-game and end-game goals on them.
right,
So you keep them in front of you, and if they have end game, you just keep it in front of you till the end of the game, and then it might give you some end game scoring depending on like how many planets you've scanned to completion or anything like that. And then other ones have like in-game scoring, which is if you get two probes into orbit or to land on a planet, then you might get like some victory points and like an extra card draw or something. So nothing that seems too extreme, but based on how like limited resources and how tight the game is, it's always helpful. But yeah, so that's like the main use of the cards. And then there's also, the free action of discarding your card, which you can get the bonus in the upper left hand corner, which is usually gaining data, gaining publicity, or gaining movement, or traversing the solar system. And the final thing that you can do with the cards is tucking them for income.
Right.
When you're able to. So just having like that, and then it just adds an extra layer too, where the first game I played, I finished my last turn of the last round. The person before me rotated the solar system exactly where I needed, and I had the perfect amount of cards in my hand that I could discard to move to where I needed to move, and then like launch, and then was like in the running. Like I didn't win that game, but we played 4 players and we were all within like 16 points of each other. So like that kept me in that like
Right.
group. Yeah, just timing out your actions and what you can discard those cards for, or like potentially boost your income with, is just crucial.
Yeah.
Like they're all so important.
Absolutely. What I think is really compelling and interesting, both compelling and interesting about this game is you can't ignore, I guess you could. You can't you have to do everything, right? Like you've got to launch probes, you've got to send signals, got to build up your publicity so that you can turn it in to upgrade your tech. Because like you said, the tucking of cards, mostly, if I recall, I mean, I'm sure there's exceptions. Most of the time, the only way to tuck cards is to either put a probe in orbit or land it on a moon or something. And that's a bonus that you get, is to tuck a card to increase your income, right?
That's the main way. There's also cards that let you
Yeah,
tuck a card. And on the data track, when you're assigning out your data as a free action, one of them is tucking a card for income.
right. So we send signals out to all the star systems outside of the solar system, and we gain the data disks, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that what yeah. And so then you put those on your, presumably it's a computer, on your player mat, right?
Yeah.
Some
I.
of them get you bonuses if you cover them up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an action you take to analyze that data where you remove them all from your player board, and you get to, what is it? You put a disk on
Yeah,
one of
you.
the,
Yeah, that's how you research the aliens.
right,
Essentially, basically, you're collecting data, and then you are using all that data you collected to like make a theory, I guess, or
right,
yeah, you're using that to like discover part of an alien species.
right. And those aliens are interesting. There's 5 of them in the game, I think, 5
Mhm.
different ones, which gives us a little bit of replayability. There's definitely room for future expansions for other alien civilizations, and they do different
Oh, for
things.
sure.
I think my favorite is, it's the one with it adds the little asteroid that you put on the solar system disk.
Yeah,
It has that
that
really,
one.
really
Oh,
weird
I can't even
name.
pronounce any of these, probably.
But again,
Yeah, I agree with that.
on one of the solar system disks that we had just talked about. And so you can essentially, you can land a probe on the asteroid and get cool things.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably my favorite in the game.
My favorite is, I don't know, I think maybe the Centaurians, which kind of feels a little basic, maybe, but I just like that they give you like extra goals in the
Yeah.
game. Like off the bat, everyone gets to place a marker like 15 points ahead of where they are on the board. And then if you helped like work towards discovering those aliens, then you start with an alien card. But throughout the game, like, other players can still gain those alien cards too. And every time you do, when you play that alien card, you place another marker 15 points ahead of you. So it's just giving you these like little goalposts constantly throughout the game, depending on
Right.
how frequently you use them. And if you time it right too, like when you discover the first one, you put it 15 ahead, and then if you got an alien card from that, you can play it immediately and put another marker on top of that, so you'll trigger
Right.
both at the same time when you cross it, which is just like super nice. Yeah, I don't know, that one feels really giving, so I like it a lot. It's very generous.
So you've recently taught this game a lot. I've only had the pleasure of playing it with my wife, who's learned the rules. She's done the teach. Do you have, in the course of your teachings, a strategy for teaching the game? Have you developed a strategy? Like, does it get easier each time? You're like, oh, this is a better order for teaching, or
Yeah, so I think like maybe 3 out of 4 of the times I've taught it, I just like jump straight. It comes with a very helpful like player booklet that everyone gets. It's just like a folded in half piece of paper, but it outlines all of the main rules, and I usually start with that. This last time I taught it, I started with like explaining that you need, in order to discover an alien, you need to research the yellow, pink, and blue, and then I kind of went into how to get the yellow, pink, and blue. But basically, for the main part, I just like run down the, oh my gosh, why the reference, the player
right?
reference. I'm like, why? I'm like, I can't think of this. Yeah, I just run down the player aid and kind of go from top to bottom. I explain how you launch a probe, where the probe goes. Like, I feel like I'm pretty visual, like, use the board, use everything I have in front of me, explain why it makes sense, like, oh, you're paying this to launch your probe to here, you're going out to Earth. This is how I usually don't talk about movement until the free actions and just kind of explain stuff. So I usually just start with the base, like, that, and then it's like, oh, once you're out here, you'll need to move. I'll talk about movement later. Once you get to the planet you want to go to, this is where you can now orbit or land on the planet. This is what orbiting looks like. This is what landing on the planet looks like. This is how you get a discount for landing on the planet if you're in orbit. And then I usually run through, and then I skip researching data part, because that kind of goes along with the free action. So I usually go through all the main actions first, and then I'll go back, and then I'll go through the free actions and talk about how you discard a card, how you can trade in resources. You can trade in 2 of one resource for 1 of another. And then once I get to the data there, I go over how you place the data out. Then I say, and then another main action would be clearing this, and that's how you get blue, which is the final
Right.
piece. But I try to like group those together, and I usually just skip it overall. But just with that like player aid, it's really easy to run down. I just try to like point to everything and just again relate it to how thematic I can make it, and how thematic they already made it, and to
Right.
just make it make sense.
So I love that. I came across yet another quote by Carl Sagan, who said astronomy is a humbling and, I might add, a character building experience. And playing SETI, which is playing astronomy, you have built character,
Mm-hmm.
according to Carl Sagan. So here's my next question. If someone's never played SETI before, because you have been introducing it to so many people, if someone's like, should I buy SETI? Should I play SETI? Or would you teach it to us? Like, how would you approach this game to someone who's never played it before? Or how have you in the past done so?
I mean, I guess it really depends on like who I'm playing with. I guess like I haven't had somebody who's like not already into board games ask me
Right.
about it, because I think that would be like a whole different thing. I mean, I have played it at a coffee shop and had people come over and be like, "Oh, what is this?" and kind of like implore a little bit, and I'm just like, "Oh, like we're discovering aliens," and like kind of give like a high level overview. It is not a place that I would suggest people start for sure, but like I played with some, like I work at a local board game store, and I played with some coworkers recently who play more RPGs and TCGs than anything. Playing with them was kind of like a unique experience in that they don't play a lot of board games. So to them, it was like, a lot going on and like grasping it. So
Right.
that was kind of like a different experience versus like playing with other friends that I was still teaching them a new game, but they have like a lot more heavy board game background. Yeah, I would say if you're into heavy games, if you're into like any kind of strategy game like that, I would say if you're interested in buying it, it's definitely worth it. I have played it, you know, uh close to 10 times, and I'm still like intrigued by it and
Yeah.
still finding new things to do. I'm still like going into a game being like, I'm going to scan so hard this game, and then my cards don't line up for it. So then I don't scan so hard that game. Like you can't, like, I always want to try something like different or new or go harder on something, but then like it's the hand that you're dealt, you know what
That's
I mean?
true.
So, like, if you're that interested in it and you're looking for like a new game to kind of like immerse yourself in, I would definitely say buy it. If you are just starting to explore heavier games, I would say ease in, play with somebody else who's already played it that can answer your questions. Yeah, from what I've heard, people diving into this game like at a convention or something with like a teach that that person's just kind of learning it as they go has not been the move. Like finding someone who played it and can help, and like especially a person that has played it and doesn't take it so seriously that they like can't help you, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's like, but yeah, anyway, I hope that answered it.
No, yeah. So when you teach, do you usually play, or do you like moderate? You've got four players because it's a 1 to 4 player game, or are you always one of the players when you teach?
In this instance, I've always been one of the players. Actually, I pretty much always am. Like,
Okay.
I don't have enough friends that I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sit this one out and watch you guys play. I do have enough friend groups that I'm fortunate to have, but like, no, there's usually 3 to 4 of us, not over that.
Right.
So, yeah, I haven't been in that situation where I have taught and then left. So I'm usually in the game, but I'm
Right.
like, usually I'm so busy thinking about my own goals and strategies that anyone, if they did ask for help or show me a card, like I don't care enough to also try to ruin your strategy or whatever you're doing. Like I have enough going on over here that
Absolutely.
like I don't need to do anything, and I don't think I'm that type of game player in
Yeah.
general.
Well, I mean, you're the queen of the bad luck club, right? So
Yes.
so I want to hear more about when you're at the coffee shop and you're talking to a muggle, to coin the term. So someone comes up to you and, hey, what are you doing? Like, how do you? Because I struggle talking
I
to
struggle
non.
too. I hate being mean so much, and I don't want to be mean. It's so different. Like if someone comes up to me at a convention and asks about a board game, I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, let's get into it and like lean back and ready. At a coffee shop, it's so just like it's way more superficial. So
Right.
I've learned to just be like, oh yeah, it's like a game about, like we're just discovering aliens, so we're just like moving around. Like yeah, I just try to keep it like pretty surface level. Like sometimes they'll inquire more, but for the most part, they're just like, oh, can I just snap a picture of the game or whatever. But yeah, like I've had people like ask questions and I start to talk and then I see their eyes glaze over and then I'm like,
Sure.
okay, I'm yapping too much. So it's kind of like a delicate balance because I never want to like isolate anybody by any means or like
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm fine. Like I don't care if Monopoly is your favorite game or anything. Like I will never judge anybody for what their favorite game is or what types of games they like to play. So yeah, I pretty much just learned to like let them lead it more than me try to like get excited or get into it
Right.
because I will probably always be overwhelming.
We did an entire episode of the podcast Gareth and I did last year about how to talk to non-gamers about our
Hmm.
hobby without using our vernacular, right?
Hmm.
Which is challenging, and I still fail constantly. And while SETI is probably not the game, right, to talk to a non-gamer about, but if you're at a coffee shop and the game is beautiful, so
Hmm.
it's going to attract attention. The theme is relatable enough because it's based on something real that we all know, and
Yeah.
that we've grown up with the the radio dishes and in the Silicon Desert. I mean, that's kind of we all know it. It's in all the movies. Everyone's seen it. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It's like how you would talk about SETI. Like I could see myself trying to, well, I would do exactly what I've done with you. Well, let me tell you the history of SETI. Okay. And now this board, so you know what SETI is. Now I'm going to tell you this board game and just dive into the theme headlong. And I also, I give you credit because you said you see the eyes glaze over. and I don't, which is why it's bad. This is why I need my wife with me at
Yeah.
all times, because she'll be
No,
like,
yeah, I have learned to recognize it, so
"Yep,
I just kind of like, yeah, like I understand, like I know when to stop. I have, like in the past, like when I first have gotten asked, I've like, oh yeah, you want to talk about this? Let's talk
yeah,
about it. And then they're like, oh yeah, like well, I actually like don't want to be in this conversation. And
right,
I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
yep,
So now I just figured out it's usually like pretty surface level, like people have interest, they see you playing something it's different, like there's definitely interest in games,
hmm
so I'd rather not start at the top and just kind of like let them, like, I don't know, I played this import called bricolage heads at a coffee shop a few times recently, and it has like a crazy table presence, and so that one like has caught a lot of people's attention, and
sure,
like that one is so much harder to explain. I'm like, oh, you're building like Japanese street art, and like I don't know, that one's a little more out there. And that one, like, people come much more frequently with interest, and they also
right,
lose interest a lot quicker because they're like, I don't know what this is. This isn't Japanese, and they like walk away.
right,
So yeah, I've just kind of learned to like let them take the lead more than anything, and if they want to engage more, because I've had people be like, oh yeah, like this is cool, like I've been wanting to play more games or whatever, and then I'm like, oh well, I have this Instagram that you can like look at if you want to, and like I'm local, and I'm usually pretty open to people wanting to game with me. I've actually met like a lot of my gaming friends through my Instagram and my local game store, so like
awesome,
yeah, like I'm definitely open to it, but I'm gonna let them handle it, I guess, because otherwise I'm gonna come in too hot.
right. I love it. That's great. So I'm interested in this coffee shop. I'm trying to think of, because SETI's got quite a table presence,
Hmm.
and coffee shops tend to be lean in table size. So this must be an impressive coffee shop that you frequent, that the tables
Yeah,
are big enough.
actually, like, well, just because I live in Texas, like, we have a lot of outdoor space in general. Like, first of all, Texas is huge, so there's
Yep.
just, more space than anyone knows what to do with. There's also just like a lot of spaces have just like big outdoor areas because you spend the majority of the time outside since
Right.
it's night most of the year. Yeah, but this place I found because they also like most of their menu is vegan and I'm vegan, so I just started
Okay.
going there. And then we do have like a local game cafe, but they kind of recently switched how they do service, so we have been going there less because we could be there for like 30 minutes and like not have someone come and take our order for coffee or something. So we were starting to get a little frustrated going there, or we'd be there and get like kicked out of our table after a couple hours because someone had a reservation. So we started going to this place just because they had better food options, and then they do have like a ton of picnic tables out back. So when it's nice out, we'll sit out back usually and play. Like the pictures I took for SETI on Instagram, I took out back there. I think I've taken pictures for other games out back there too.
Right.
But it's been so windy here the past couple of weeks, so we've been playing inside. But the weather was nice, so everyone else like patronizing the place just goes like straight outside and sits out there. So we've had like the full inside to ourselves, and we'll push two tables
Oh,
together,
that's
and
cool. That's
we
cool.
spend the day there, but we're eating and drinking, so we're spending it.
Sure.
We're not just like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So I'm going to connect this back to last week's episode where we talked with Josh from Modern Me, but we were talking about organizing your game table. You had mentioned picnic tables. And this is just me, right? I'm reticent to play games outside. So how do you organize all the cards and all the bits when you're playing the game outside?
My one friend and I carry silicone cupcake things around with
Yeah.
us like everywhere. So whenever we play games, we just like pretty much always have them with us, and then we put all components in there usually. I do have like a 3D printed set too that I'll take with me sometimes, but
Okay.
they're not as like, malleable. So
Right.
I don't default to taking them. I use them more at home. But yeah, so pretty much that. I also am like, I'm like looking around like someone's gonna overhear me. Like I'm not just like putting this out into the internet world. I
You're
am
about to put
not
this out,
that.
though.
I was gonna say like I'm not like that precious about my games, which is like
Sure.
awful. Like I love them. Like I love my games so dearly. I have like a deep emotional connection with a lot of my games. Like I have had great memories and friendships and like laughter over them, and like I get very attached to my games, which makes them hard to cull.
Right.
And but I also am like I'm like a sneakerhead that wears their sneakers, you know what I mean? Like I play my games like I'm fine with it. Like
Right.
I don't know, like my games are going to get used, and they might get sticky, or I might drop a piece on the, like, I don't know, I might drop a piece on the ground and it's fine. And I probably will never notice if I miss one of those discs from SETI.
Fair point. So my thought in my asking, although everything you just said is totally, I'm like, oh my God, that's all that could happen too. I'm thinking about the cards. I'm particularly thinking about the discard piles and the wind picking up the cards and,
I
how do
take
you,
that into account before setting the game up. Like if it's a windy day, we're probably not playing outside
right,
or playing a different game. But yeah, like I said, like we've been playing inside kind of recently because the wind's been like
right,
insane. But yeah, like on most like mild days, I haven't had an issue. Like the biggest thing, I was playing Invincible outside with my friend once, and it has like cardboard standees, and they kept blowing over, so we just laid them down and then played the rest of the game like that. And we didn't have any issues with cards or anything. Like I don't know. I've had like a time or two where a card like starts to lift up, or like you feel the wind start to come first, I feel
sure,
like, or it hits your table, and then you'll just be like, and
okay.
then it's like over. But no, honestly, like I haven't had any issue. Like knock on wood.
I promise I wasn't setting myself up for this, but it just occurred to me that this is an appropriate time to talk about it. Honestly, this was serendipitous. So recently, Folded Space has an insert for all their components. I'm holding up one of them now, one of their trays. I play purple, so all my purple pieces are in here. And this is from their color line. They were kind enough to send that to me, and I'm going to post more pictures of the Folded Space insert and everything. It's a really good idea. Not every game has an insert with usable trays that you could use to play outside. I think my biggest fear, concern, whatever, about playing outside, it's always cards.
Yeah.
I can lose discs in my house. I have 2 cats. If one disc rolls on the ground, forget it. It's gone.
hmm
But cards I worry about, and I worry about that errant breeze and,
Honestly, I found that they lay flat enough that it's usually not an issue.
good. Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. I also don't sleeve my cards and stuff too. I'm
Yep.
assuming maybe sleeved cards have more weight to them, so it's less of an issue too.
Yeah, I don't sleeve my cards either. I'm like, I want to see cards that are used. That way I know it's
Well, I
loved.
just have an issue with like plastic. We're already using like so much, and like I already have like consumer guilt for the games that I own and stuff.
Right.
So leaving them too is not something that I'm like super keen on
Yeah. Which gets us back to the components for SETI being in that recycled
for
wood,
sure.
right? So we like
I
that.
actually just learned that like while I was at the Gamers Ranch that they were the rewood and what rewood was. That was interesting.
Yeah. Kutnahora by the same publisher also uses the rewood, and they talk about what it is and the process that it comes from. And so I thought that was really cool. And again, like I said, last week's episode, I don't normally talk about previous episodes as much as I am today. The way that Josh makes his hexagonal trays and everything, and they're not 3D printed. He machines all that. So they're a high quality product, and I really like sustainable sources of
Same.
material, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely into that. And I'm into the theme of this game because it's so cool. There was a time where I fashioned myself a rocket scientist. I never wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be the guy at Johnson Space Center at 8 years old, pushing the button to launch the space shuttle.
Mhm.
Anything else you want to say about SETI? Final thoughts? Anything like that?
Final thoughts. I'm trying to think of like even how to like sum it up, I guess. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Most people I talk to are like, that looks like a lot. And I'm like, it is a lot. And
Yep.
then once you start playing, which is true of a lot of heavier games, once you start playing, it kind of comes together. But I really think that the theme of this one ties it together so much that the actions you're doing make sense. But yeah, I think that would be it. Like, don't be intimidated. Lean into the theme of it. Have fun with it. Oh, as always, my biggest thing is like it is just a game. So like
Right.
it's meant to be played. It's meant to have fun. You will make mistakes your first time. Again, like these are all just like more core things for gaming than SETI itself. But like, I guess be gracious with yourself and your score, and just I
Yeah.
don't know. Just lean into the theme, have fun with it. It's been fun to get excited about the aliens too and be like, oh my gosh, wow, what's out there? Like, oh, this one's so crazy. And like, to kind of role play actually
Hmm.
discovering these aliens. I don't know. So just have fun and don't let it overwhelm
Yeah.
you.
Have you found, this is my final question, in all the times you've played it recently with all the different players, have you found that when the game is over, not role playing, but like you engage in conversation about finding extraterrestrial intelligence, life on other planets or anything, does it spawn a little bit of conversation afterwards?
Okay, so no, but
Okay,
mostly we're just talking about like, oh man, like this is what I could have done better, or like this is what I was trying to do, or like, I wish I did this. So it's usually more just like kind of game talk or like table
sure.
talk, I guess. But I feel like it's definitely come up in conversation during the game, like
Okay.
more so than after the game, I think. Because after the game, we're more so like ruminating on the gameplay. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's definitely come up like during the game.
So I'm looking forward to seeing you sometime in the future and playing SETI. And you can look forward to the fact that when the game is over, I will not be talking about the game, but I'll be talking about the possibility of life
I'm
on.
honestly happy to. I love talking about that. So let's go.
So tell everyone where they can find you on all the fun socials and how they can join the Bad Luck Club.
Yes. So currently, I am primarily on Instagram. That's where I post like all of my content. I secretly, but not so secretly, am in the middle of editing my first YouTube video right now, Ranch. So I'll be talking about the games that I played there since it was like hosted by specific publishers. So I was playing a bunch of games that they were featuring. So yes, that will be coming soon. But yes, that's my kind of soft launch. You heard it here first.
Ooh.
The YouTube is happening. That's it. That's it for my socials, I think. And then as far as joining the Bad Luck Club, just suck at rolling dice and you're in.
Well, on behalf of the YouTube community, welcome.
You.
And speaking of the YouTube community, guys, once again, I have failed to do this at the beginning of the episode, so I'm doing it now. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Hit that like. Post a comment below on YouTube or any of this podcast streaming services that you enjoy most. Guys, thank you again. We have a full schedule. I have future episodes already recorded and they're already scheduled. They're going to drop. I am booked out to May. Every week is spoken for. But if you want to come on the show, send me a DM through Instagram at Meeple to Meeple or the Cajun Gamer, or message me through YouTube, or you can even email me, meeple to meeple at gmail.com, and we'll get you on. We'll talk about anything. I still have time before Gareth returns. Fingers crossed. So keep looking for that extraterrestrial intelligence. Play SETI. Just possible. I foresee it being a nominee for the Game of the Year, Spiel of the Jahre for 2025. Tara, thank you for joining. This was exciting. I'm so glad to see you again.
Sam, thank you for having me and putting up with my microphone trying to connect.
No worries. You put up with my shenanigans, so I am grateful to you for your love and patience. So thanks again, guys, and we will see you soon.
Bye.